Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jeff Hackman. I'm with Ameren Company out of the St. Louis area. I'm the Senior Director of Business Development and Special Projects, and before that, I had involvement in transmission operations. With me today, I have Andrew Walsh from IND Technology and Joe Potvin from EPRI, and we hope to share the exciting news that we've had with this pilot project. When we had Pilot Day, we saw a number of interesting companies present and pitch their products. And I got to tell you, when I saw this one from IND first came up, I said, this is it. I don't care what else I've seen that I like better. Nothing is better than this one. The idea that you could identify problems on your transmission system that were soon to come, event anticipators, if you will, seemed really, really important. There are three main things immediately that rushed into my head when I was thinking about this. First is the obvious one, which is customer impact and eliminating outages that might be coming. The second thing that jumped into my head was, this would allow us to efficiently group our work, right? I mean, one of the big challenges in customer affordability, which affects our industry, is making sure that we're as efficient as possible. And the idea that you always have to run out and repair things when they happen is not as efficient as it could be. And so if you can bundle the work. And the third thing is near and dear to my heart in the transmission space, is the risk elimination and mitigation, right? I mean, if you can identify that a conductor is going to have problems in the future, then you can get out and stop it from happening. I was really excited a couple of years ago when we got these relays that could clear transmission circuits before they hit the ground. But even better than that is being able to identify that they're going to hit the ground in a couple of days. And so it was just a really, really exciting time. So what we hope to get out of is a little experience with IND Tech. I can only tell you that the tech is magic, but I'd turn it over to Andrew Walsh to tell you how it really works.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. So the EFD system, or early fault detection system, is based on radio frequency data collection. And we do this by a series of installations which we put along a transmission circuit at 3 to 5 miles. Historically, we've worked mainly in the distribution circuit space, and that's been our experience in the west coast of North America. The sensors are wireless. They look at the line. They're fed down to a control unit, which is essentially a computer on the pole or the tower, recording the signals it sees that travel along the line. Those signals are transmitted via broadband or 3G, 4G to a cloud infrastructure. From there, the data is transmitted to a visual overlay, and over the top of a Google map, where it gives the end user rich visualization, so they're able to look at what's happening on their network every second of every day. What's unique about the technology itself is it's able to locate issues, as Jeff said, emerging issues down to 30 feet. So gone are the days of saying, hey, there's a fault out there. It's down the line. This is now go to this specific point on your line and look for an emerging issue, which will play out in, as Jeff said, the days or months to come. Joe, I'll hand it over to you for your thoughts.
All right, great. Thanks a lot, Andrew. So the approach to examining the technology was first to identify some circuits where we thought it could really show its stuff. So Ameren identified a few different transmission and distribution circuits where there were known issues. The sensors were deployed on those circuits, and the idea was basically to see what sort of information comes back, and if it marries up with different events that or outages that may occur. Did they see them coming? Does it marry up with different defects that perhaps weren't caught with visual inspection? So really the idea was to deploy the system and see what's it seeing that isn't being seen during a traditional inspection. Beyond that, once those signals start rolling in, then the idea is to identify where they're coming from, take a closer look at the asset, and then if able, remove it from service and try to determine what's actually wrong with it. And the reason for that is to get a good idea of, is this something that needs to be repaired right away, or is this something that could have waited for some time? So part of the technical approach is just understanding what is data that we can use to inform maintenance and repair actions now versus what can wait for a while, and how do those signals manifest themselves.
Thanks, Joe. And as Joe mentioned, one of the reasons we were interested also was that when IND was pitching their product at Pilot Day, the primary use case for them had been distribution so far, and we wanted to, validate that that it would work well on transmission and subtransmission as well. The technology rose to the occasion, that's for sure. We knew we had trouble on the circuits, the transmission circuits that we put them on. That's why we put them on. We didn't know where the trouble was occurring, though, and so we've been able to, focus in very closely. In fact, in one case, IND was hedging their bets a little bit. I don't mean that in a bad way, but in a good way. They were saying, we're pretty sure it's at this structure, but it might be plus or minus 50 feet. So we had a drone go up and do a very detailed inspection. But when we got done looking at the 50 feet plus or minus, it was right on the structure, just like they called it out. And I have every reason to believe that if it had been on further mid-span, that they would have identified it too. We've not only validated that you can use them on transmission, but the other thing that we really found out was that it really didn't matter what the configuration was or the structure type, the material, or whatever. The technology is kind of oblivious to all that stuff. I mean, you can apply it anywhere. We purposely picked hard ones where like on the subtransmission circuit where it changed configurations throughout, and from deltas to flats to verticals, and we were able to mount the sensors within the requirements of the specifications, which really are not very much, which is just make sure that they're the same distance from the phases, which makes a lot of sense if you think about the principle behind it. And so what we really found was that the thing is extremely adaptable. It works everywhere on our system, and we're excited as heck that we found these locations right off the bat. We didn't have to wait for weeks or months. We didn't have to wait for them to materialize into something bigger and broader. We were able to get to them now, and in the one case, we feel like we've got some severe corrosion on the insulator. I doubt when we take it down, which we will because we want to send it to EPRI so they can do some testing, but I doubt that we'll find that it was in imminent danger right now or within the next year or so. But the fact is that when we know it's there and it's likely to occur, and we know how the risk pattern goes, we're able to exactly identify when that's occurring, in addition to all the other things that it finds, where even if vegetation tends to approach and not even within the strike distance, as long as it gets into the plane, IND will pick it up. It's really remarkable that way.